I'm Nora Hale, 34, and tonight my husband admitted he'd been cheating on me for years, then standing beside his mistress told me to move out immediately. I dragged a nearly empty suitcase onto the rain-slick sidewalk, shoved my passport into my jacket pocket, and booked a red-eye back to the US. 24 hours later, the moment I landed in Denver, I typed one line into the family group chat. I land at 6 p.m, can someone pick me up? Brandon replied, busy at the gym. Just get an Uber. My mum wrote, you're an adult, handle it. I sat, hugging my suitcase at the pickup curb, hand shaking so hard I couldn't tie my shoes, thinking about the home I'd just lost and the marriage torn in two. I didn't know that, a few hours later, the first person to ask, are you okay, wouldn't be family, and my story would be on the 10 p.m. local news, along with something that would drag every excuse to the bottom. Before I continue this story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit like and subscribe if you have ever felt abandoned when you needed someone most. Rain slides down the big windows of our Sydney apartment and turns the harbour into a smear of grey. I stand in the living room with a dust cloth and straighten the wedding photo on the wall. It's just a little off a thumb's width. I nudge the frame until the horizon in the picture looks level and step back. The room is warm gold from the floor lamp. The rest of the city looks cold. I tell myself this small job matters. Little things matter. I plan dinner for 2 salmon and a quick salad, nothing fancy. The shared calendar on my phone still shows dinner, 7:30. It's been there all week. I like seeing it like a pin in the day that says, we are still us. The pot on the stove starts to hum. My phone buzzes. A text from Caleb, urgent meeting. Rain check. I stare at the words, and at the small moon icon next to his name, the do not disturb, turned on even as he texts me. It happens every quarter end of month pushes and client calls. It makes sense. I nod to no one and say, it's fine. Work happens. My voice sounds steady, almost bored. I write back, okay, I'll save yours. I put the fish back in the fridge. I lower the heat under the water and switch to making pasta so I can reheat it later. I try to make it feel casual, normal. The rain ticks louder on the glass. I carry my bowl to the couch, tuck my feet under me, and open the family group chat, Hail Fam. There's a stream of pictures from my mum Donna, a tray of lemon bars on a church table, a shot of her and 2 friends in sweaters. Bridge night, she wrote an hour ago. My brother Brandon has sent a gym selfie with a new personal record on his deadlift. He looks pleased with himself, red-faced, a caption, half marathon next. Let's go. I type, thinking about flying home next month. Couple days in Denver, would be nice to see everyone. I add a smile emoji. 3 small profile circles slide under the message. Seen. No reply. The chat jumps as my mum adds, these were such a hit, could have sold out twice. Brandon drops a flexed arm sticker. The thread scrolls away from my note like it never happened. I start to type again, then stop. The pasta is already going cool. I eat, anyway. My mouth tastes like nothing but salt. I have learned to be the one who handles it. When I was 10, I figured out how to sign my own permission slips. When I was 20, I figured out my own loans. I hear my mother's voice in my head from some other argument. You're grown, handle it. It wasn't cruel. It was flat, like weather. I hear myself answer the same line I use for everything. No worries. I open my laptop on the coffee table and check a deck I'm polishing for a US client. The slides look clean. I nudge a headline 1 pixel to the left and feel that small click of control. On the shared calendar, I can see Caleb's blocks in grey. Tonight, says Aurora Partners, 7:10 p.m. I click their website out of habit, remembering a past exchange with their assistant about time zones. They usually meet mornings. It could be different today. Anything could be different today. I close the tab. I glance toward the wall. The wedding photo is still straight, I think. The wind thumps against the building and the frame shifts a hair, or maybe it's just the shadow moving. The front door chime clicks when the air pressure changes a soft, hollow sound I've learned to ignore. My phone buzzes again, and I look up fast, but it's only a calendar reminder that I set Pick Up Pinot for Friday. I had planned a small surprise Friday. I backspace the note and type maybe next to it, then delete the whole thing. The spare key hangs on a hook near the door, a neat little oval tag with Caleb Plus. Nora etched into the metal. A joke we made when we first moved in. Who gets the spare when we're both always home? It felt cute then. Now it just hangs there, cold, patient. The pot on the stove clicks off. The rain eases and then returns harder. I'm about to close my laptop when a new email lands in the corner of the screen with a small bell Harbourview Hotel, booking confirmation. The subject line shows our city and tonight's date. I frown and open it. The hotel logo fills the top. I scroll to the reservation details. Guest Caleb Archer. Additional guest S. Whitaker. Room type Harbour Suite. Check-in Friday. Notes anniversary amenity. I stare at the text until the words blur and then sharpen again. I don't move. My first thought is something reasonable company. Discount packages sometimes carry anniversary amenity language. S could be Scott from his team, or Sam, or someone from Aurora. My body does not believe my brain. I realise my hand has moved the cursor over forward as if I'm going to send it to Caleb and ask, "What is this?" I take my hand off the trackpad. I breathe in long and slow, and the apartment smells like lemon cleaner and rain. I don't want to jump. I don't want to be dramatic. I say to the room, "It's fine," and hear how thin it sounds. The Do Not Disturb moon sits next to Caleb's name on my phone screen. It shouldn't mean anything. He turns it on for deep work. He told me that when we first started dating. He said I need blocks where nobody can reach me, not even you. But I always come back. He did always come back. Until the times he didn't, and then he had long explanations that sounded smart and tired. I told myself we were solid because we paid the rent on time, sent joint grocery lists, shared calendars. Couple life as a series of aligned spreadsheets. I shut the laptop and set it down, then pick it back up, then set it down again. The frame on the wall has slipped back to crooked, a tiny tilt, like a tilted smile. I stand and straighten it without thinking. My fingers leave a faint smudge on the glass. In the kitchen, I rinse my bowl and leave it to dry. The sink drips once then, again sharp ticks in the quiet. The city outside is a smear of red taillights and wet asphalt. In the bedroom, I kneel to pull out the mid-sized suitcase from under the bed. It has a thin film of dust along the handle. I wipe it with my sleeve and feel silly because I'm not going anywhere tonight. I tell myself I'm just checking the wheels. They still roll fine. I push it back. The floor is cool through my leggings. I stand and roll my shoulders until something pops. In the hall, the spare key glints. I think about the last time we used it when Caleb locked himself out and texted me from the elevator bank with a string of laughing emojis. He called me the hero of small crises. It made me warm for hours. I carry that warmth like a pebble in my pocket, rubbing it smooth. Back in the living room, I pick up my phone and open HailFam again. My message about flying home sits there, ignored now, buried under a new photo of my mum's lemon bars at a different angle. I type, "thinking of you," and erase it. I type, "work is busy," and erase it. I type nothing and lock my phone. The screen shows me for a second in reflection hair in a loose knot, an old sweatshirt, the kind of face you get at the end of a long day. My mouth is a straight line. I sit on the couch and listen to the rain, and let the hotel email sit like a stone in my stomach. There are a dozen explanations. There are a dozen ways to avoid the worst one. I tell myself I will ask him tomorrow in daylight, when my voice is calm. He will say something that makes sense. He is good at that. I am good at believing him. The room breathes with the sound of the building, a low hum from the elevator shaft, the faint whistle under the door. The wedding photo catches a little glare from the lamp. In the picture, we are on a beach, and I am laughing at something he said. We both look different in that light, younger, looser, like the ocean air had erased the hard edges of our faces. I stare until the glare becomes a bright slash across our mouths. I get up and tilt the lampshade to cut the reflection. The frame goes a hair off center again. I leave it. It hardly shows unless you are a person who watches for small shifts and writes them down in her mind. I turn off the kitchen light and stand at the window. The harbour moves but feels still. Boats make slow triangles. In the glass, I can see the room behind me and the blue-white square of my laptop screen. The hotel tab is still open. I close my eyes and touch the cool window with my fingertip. It's fine, I say once more softer, trying the words on like a coat that used to fit. My phone buzzes once more and I look out of instinct, but it's only the calendar nudging me to buy the Pinot I already deleted. I swipe it away. I put the phone face down. I tell myself I'm tired that tired brains play tricks that a letter S could be anyone. I tell myself not to chase shadows. Behind me, the frame on the wall shifts the smallest bit, or maybe it is just the rain. I go to the bedroom and pull the suitcase an inch out from under the bed, and then push it back until it thumps the wall. I don't know why I do it. Maybe I want to hear something solid in this room of soft noises. I wash my face, I put the pasta away. I send Caleb one more message. Hope the meeting goes okay and watch as it shows delivered and nothing else. The moon icon stays a tiny, calm thing that says, do not disturb, do not ask, do not push. I turn off the last lamp and let the dark come up around me. The laptop screen glows alone on the table, the hotel email a white flag I refuse to touch again tonight. I go to bed and lie on my side and try to slow my breathing. Every time I almost sleep, I see the words, Additional Guest S. Whitaker, and I open my eyes and stare at the ceiling until the lines of the vent come into focus. I think about home in Denver and the text I sent to my family that sank without a ripple. I think about the spare key by the door and the way the metal caught the light. I think about the crooked frame and the way my fingers couldn't make it stay straight. I let the thoughts drift until they are only shapes. The rain evens out. The apartment cools. I tell myself tomorrow I will ask. I tell myself we are fine until the words mean nothing at all. My phone lights the dark again, a small square in the room. A new text from Caleb rolls in over the Do Not Disturb, Moonroom 814, same as always. I'll get the key at the desk. For a second I think I'm reading someone else's screen. Then I feel it hit a slow, cold drop through my chest. Same as always is not a slip. It's a routine. I take a screenshot with a hard click of my thumb and breathe through the shake in my hands. I pull up the hotel email from earlier. Harbourview guest Caleb Archer, additional guest S. Whitaker, Harbour Suite, note about an anniversary amenity. I save both the email and the screenshot to a cloud folder with a name that means nothing, receipts. I do not call him. I know what he sounds like when he denies, when he flips things, when he tells stories smooth as glass. I open the Notes app and type 3 lines. What is room 814? Who is S. Whitaker? How long I set an alarm for early and lay on my back staring at the slow fan until sleep crawls over me like a heavy coat. Morning is colourless and sharp. I dress in jeans, a plain sweater, my hair pulled back. I carry nothing but my phone and a small folder with our marriage certificate because I don't know what I plan to say and it makes me feel less empty to hold paper. The lobby of Caleb's building is glass on glass, all shine and soft jazz. The security guard nods like he knows me and also wishes he didn't. Mrs. Archer, he says, unsure. He just got in. I thank him and press the elevator button. The doors open and Sloane Whitaker steps out crisp as new paper a pale coat that looks like it has never seen rain. She is smaller than I expected, or maybe the building is bigger. Her eyes slide to me cool and careful, like I am a spill someone else should clean. A cream envelope peeks from her tote, the Harbourview logo in blue, the number 814, written in a neat hand on the corner of a keycard sleeve. She says this isn't a good place to talk in a pleasant voice that has no room in it. I say I'm here to talk to my husband. The elevator chimes behind her, the doors threaten to close, and then she is past me, a drift of clean perfume and the soft click of heels fading down the marble. On Caleb's floor, the air is cooler. He meets me in a small glass meeting room, the kind meant for quiet calls. He looks tired in a curated way. Shirt, perfect jaw, shadow just enough to read as busy. He smiles, then sees I am not smiling back. "What's going on?" he asks, sitting, but not inviting me to sit. I stay standing. I set my phone on the table screen, dark, like putting down a card in a game I don't know the rules to. "What is room 814, I ask. He blinks, then tilts his head, playing for time. "A code for a meeting," he says. "You know how hotel conference levels are. They number rooms like that." I don't answer. I tap my phone awake and show him his own text. "Room 814, same as always. I'll get the key at the desk." The words look worse when they glow between us. He leans back. "Nora, you're being intense. You've been not yourself. Jet lag, stress. You've been off for a while." He is moving fast through his drawer of reasons. I slide to the hotel email. Harbourview, Caleb Archer, S. Whitaker, Harbour Suite, anniversary amenity. I don't say a word. The silence makes a space around us where lying would have to echo. He breathes out an almost laugh that isn't one. "It's been going on for a while," he says at last. "Years. We didn't plan it like that. We fit better." The words land soft, like he hopes that will make them kind. There is a buzzing in my ears and underneath it a clean quiet. I say, "How long?" but I already know what years means. He sips coffee to fill the air. "Look, there's no need to make this ugly," he says. "I'll wire some support for a few months. We can figure out something graceful." He folds the word support so it sounds generous. "I don't take hush money," I say. My voice is even. It surprises me. He opens a drawer and pulls out a folder, flicks to a copy of the lease and the condo title. He taps his finger on the line with his name. "The place is in my name," he says. "You know we did it for the loan rates. It's simpler if you pack essentials today. I'll have the moving service handle the rest, and we'll settle it like adults." The word adults hits like a rubber stamp. I think of the spare key on our wall hook, the oval tag with our names carved in metal, and how clean it looked in the lamplight last night. Through the glass, I see Sloane waiting in the hall phone, in hand not scrolling, just holding it like a prop in a scene. She steps in when he opens the door. She gives him the Harbourview envelope as if I'm not there. "Let's be adults," she says, calm and almost kind. Dragging this out helps no one. She slides a keycard sleeve toward him, with 814 written in thin black ink. He tucks it into his pocket without looking at me. I say, "Adults keep promises." No one answers that. The silence is a wall. I pick up my phone. I put my hand on the chair back to steady myself because the room is too slick, too bright. "I'll be out today," I tell him. And the words make something in my chest loosen, not from relief, but from having a direction. I walk out past Sloane, and my reflection in the glass is a smaller person than I feel like a figure inside a shiny box. The elevator is slow. I count the floors down like I'm holding breath underwater. In the lobby, the security guard looks up and I give him a small nod, like I am fine, like this is a normal Monday. Outside, the air is wet and smells like traffic and coffee. I ride back to the apartment with the window cracked and watch the city go by in sheets. I don't put music on. My hands don't want to be told what feeling to have. In the apartment, I don't touch the wedding photo. It is crooked again, a little smile that is not a smile, and I leave it. I pull out the mid-sized suitcase from under the bed and unzip it. The sound is loud in the quiet. I pack my passport, my wallet, the small envelope with my social security card, my birth certificate, the marriage certificate. I slide my laptop into its sleeve and add 2 SSD drives with my work. I pull a coat from the hook and the comfortable shoes from the bottom of the closet. I take a single sweater that doesn't wrinkle and 1 pair of jeans and a t-shirt that smells like laundry and not like us. I open the kitchen drawer and find the box with my wedding ring. I don't put it on. I also don't leave it. I tuck it into the pocket of the laptop sleeve because I can't think what else to do with it. I take photos of the lease and the title page with his name, snap, then email them to myself and to that same nothing folder in the cloud. I don't write a letter. I don't leave a note on the counter. I text him, I'll be out today. Delivered. No typing bubble appears. I stand in the doorway and look at the spare key on the hook and then take it down and set it on the entry shelf next to the plant we forgot to water. The metal makes a small sound that feels too loud. The suitcase is so light it rolls if I breathe on it. Life should weigh more, I think, and then I think, maybe this is what it feels like when everything you carried is not yours anymore. In the elevator, I watch the numbers again. In the lobby, I order a rideshare and type SYD International with careful thumbs. The car arrives and the driver asks if I want music. I say no, thank you, and we sit with the city moving around us like a river. At the airport, I walk straight to the counter and ask for the next flight to the US. Any route, I don't care. The agent clicks and tells me there's a seat to LAX in 4 hours, a connection to Denver. After that tight but possible price high and non-refundable. I nod. I hand over my card. I don't look at the number on the screen. I don't want to count the cost of leaving when staying is the more expensive thing. She prints the boarding passes and slides them to me with a soft, professional smile that feels like mercy. I sit near a window and watch planes taxi like slow animals. I message no one. I open the Notes app and write 2 words, keep receipts. Then I add a third, breathe. When boarding starts, I stand with my light suitcase and walk toward the gate. People around me juggle kids and backpacks and coffee cups and plans. My plan is a list with 3 items: get home, find a door that locks behind me, make a new plan. On the jet bridge, I touch the cool wall with my fingers the way I touched the apartment window last night, as if the act could steady me. I think of Sloane's voice saying, "Let's be adults like it's a simple shape." I think of Caleb saying, "We fit better like I am a shirt that shrank in the wash." I think of my own voice saying, "I don't take hush money," and it is the only sound that makes me feel like a person I want to know. I buckle in and set my phone to airplane mode and hold the boarding passes tight until my hands stop shaking. When the engines start to roll, the suitcase in the overhead bin hardly shifts. I pull my phone out before airplane mode and tap our family chat. Landing 6 p.m, can someone pick me up? I add the little airplane emoji and hit send. Both Mom and Brandon's icons slide under the message with scene. No answer yet. The safety video plays. I buckle in and tuck the phone away. The cabin lights dim. Sydney falls under us like wet glitter, and then there is only cloud and engine noise. I close the shade and try to breathe on 4s like the card in the seat pocket suggests. The first hour is smooth. Then the seatbelt sign dings back on, and the plane drops a few inches like a trapdoor. Gasps a child's quick laugh that turns into a whine. The cart rattles past and comes back with dinner. My tray has a cold roll, a hard square of butter pasta that cooled too fast. I stab at it and fail. My throat feels like paper. A flight attendant leans in and smiles behind her mask. "Can I get you anything?" I shake my head and try a smile back. "I'm okay. Thank you. It comes out thin." I drink the tiny water in 2 swallows and wish for 3 more. The guy in the window seat asks if I want the shade up. I leave it down. The cabin is a bubble I can handle. I check my phone when Wi-Fi pings on for a moment, but there's nothing new. I set it to airplane mode and save the battery like it's heat. I think of the message floating there in a blue bubble over Denver and tell myself replies will be waiting at the next ground. No worries, they'll answer. Hours smear. I doze and startle, doze and startle. The turbulence comes in bands. My boarding pass crumples under my leg and I smooth it and crumple it again, a nervous rhythm. I count my breaths in sets of 50 and start over when the plane wobbles. At some point, the seatmate removes his headphones and nods at me. First time to LA, he asks through his mask. No, I say voice low. Just passing through. He nods like he gets it, like through is a place. The seatbelt light goes off and on again like a slow pulse. The pasta is a congealed knot now, so I push the tray away. I dream, with my eyes open, about arriving to a warm car. The heater pointed at my hands. My mother's voice saying, "Where are you? We're in short-term parking," the small relief of being expected. The wheels hit LAX with a long squeal, and then the brakes. The cabin claps half-heartedly and stops itself. My phone strains for a signal and catches one in the bridge. I open Hail Fam with my thumb already tense. The replies land like coins. Brandon Jim plus meeting. Just Uber. My mother. Why didn't you book ahead? My face heats, though the air is cool. I type, "No worries so fast, I don't feel my fingers move." A smiley face hovers and I delete it. I delete the whole line and then type it again and send it. No worries. I tell myself I mean it as if words can build a floor. In the terminal, the lights are too white and the speakers too bright. A cleaning machine hums past like a tired whale. I hunt for an outlet and find one dead, then another, already full of a nest of cords. I kneel to plug in at a pillar and the cord falls out twice because the slot is loose. My phone says 18%. My power bank won't wake up when I press its button. I buy a bottle of water for the price of a cheap lunch and drink it standing there. I check the departures board. My connection to Denver is on time middle seat boarding at 12:40 a.m. I message the group one more time, gate 53B now. See you soon. Only I don't know who you is. Scene pops under it again. No words above it. I open the message to Caleb and don't type anything. I lock the screen and put the phone face down on my thigh until the urge to beg goes away. On the next flight, I am the middle between a man with a sleeping neck pillow and a woman with a baby who tries so hard not to cry and then cries anyway. The plane lifts into a black that looks like nothing at all. The seatbelt sign never goes off. The ventilation air smells like mint and metal. The woman with the baby bounces her knee and whispers, "Sorry," without looking at me. I shake my head to say it's fine and mean it. The flight attendant leans in again. Anything at all, I almost say yes to anything. Yes to another tiny water, yes to someone making a small decision for me, and then I shake my head no, like a habit. The man on my other side slides a granola bar across the armrest without speaking. I start to refuse, and then take it and put it in my bag. "Thanks," I say so soft it might be air. "Sure," he says, eyes still on the safety card like it's a book. I fish out my crumpled boarding pass and smooth it again. I think about the phrase, "just Uber," and how simple it sounds, how it's a full sentence with a door shut in it. I think about, why didn't you book ahead, and feel how heavy a question could be when it's not really a question. My phone ticks down to 9% and then to 7. I toggle low power mode and turn the screen black and hold the phone like a hot stone in my palm. The baby hiccups out a last burst of crying and sighs into sleep. The cabin goes very quiet except for the constant rush of air. I read the words, "No worries," in my head and hear how hollow they sound now, how they don't cover the ground they need to cover. The captain tells us Denver is snow and wind and a short final. My ears clog. My mouth tastes stale. My shoulders ache like I've been carrying something on them for years, because maybe I have. The clouds part and Denver is a smear of white and yellow street grids, and then a runway that rises to meet us. We thump down and skate a little and then steady. The cabin fills with the sigh everyone makes at the same time. Phones wake up like fireflies. I save my battery while people around me type fast. I wait until the wheels stop at the gate and then send one word in the chat landed. Both icons pop under it. Seen. That is all. No, where are you? No, we're here, no. You okay? I stand when the row stands and my legs argue with me. My mask smells like fabric and tired breath. I take the granola bar out and put it back, unsure what need feels like. We shuffle off the plane in a long, tired animal. The jet bridge air is colder than the cabin, damp and sharp. The terminal hums with arrivals and suitcase wheels and announcements about unattended bags. I follow the signs to baggage even though my suitcase is so light, it barely counts. The carousel spits bags and families gather them up in small celebrations. I let mine loop once and then take it when it comes back around. I put on my coat in a hurry that makes me clumsy. The zipper sticks. My boarding pass is a wrinkled cloth in my pocket. I head for the doors and they open on a flat slap of winter. Breath makes ghosts in front of faces. A line of ride-share cars edges along red brake lights blinking in fog. My phone reads 2%. I plug the dead power bank into it anyway, like superstition. I text, all good. I'll get a car. I almost add, no worries and don't, because the words feel like a trick I've been playing on myself. I stand on the curb hugging the suitcase handle, and the cold eats into my sleeves until my fingers go dumb. Snow dots my hair and melts down my neck. A woman hugs a teenager tight near me and says, "You made it," and I stare at the ground and try not to listen. I look toward the rideshare sign down the walkway, where the line is longer than I want it to be, but it is a line that leads somewhere. I take a breath that tastes like ice and exhaust and drag my light suitcase toward the sign. The rideshare line snakes under a blue sign and a line of red brake lights, and I pull my suitcase behind me until one wheel hits a groove in the concrete and jerks sideways. The handle twists out of my hand. The front pocket spills open and a mess of papers skitters into slush. My wrinkled boarding pass a receipt with a half-faded total, the edge of my passport sleeve. I crouch too fast and the world tilts, and a car door clicks open and a man in a knit cap moves into my view, already gathering up the wet paper with both hands and saying, "You sure you're okay?" I nod, because nodding is easier than real words, and take the documents back and wipe them on my coat. "I'm fine," I say, and it sounds automatic even to me. He points his chin to his sedan at the curb and pops the trunk. He's Hank, the name glowing on his dash, when I climb in heater already on warm air, moving over my frozen fingers like a slow apology. He asks for the address, and I take a second to pull it up because my brain is lagging, and my phone is at 2%, and the power bank is dead again. I read the numbers carefully, the street like a tongue twister, and he repeats it back without missing a beat, and pulls away from the airport lights into darker lanes. The radio is low and full of weather advisory, bitter wind, thin snow, keep your heat on. Hank turns the blower up another notch and glances at me in the rearview mirror just once, not prying, just making sure there is a person and not a statue in his back seat. "You need to stop for anything. Water, food?" he asks, and I shake my head and say, "I'm fine again, because that's the brand I know how to sell even to strangers." The city grows out of the flat a long smear of lamps and warehouse roofs and billboards that talk about warmth I can't feel. We pass one with a family in matching sweaters and a tagline about togetherness. I look down at my hands and rub them inside my sleeves to make heat with friction. We take the exit and the roads get narrower and bumpier. The window fogs in the corners and the heater hums and my eyes burn in that tired way that is part dry, part something else. Hank turns onto my block and rolls to the curb in front of an old brick building that has never tried to be charming. The porch light flickers like it's thinking about giving up. He parks, kills the music, and we both step into the cold at the same time. I reach for the suitcase, but he has it already, puts the handle in my palm, and watches for a second as I dig for keys with clumsy fingers. The key sticks halfway in. The lock gives a stubborn little click and bolts, and I jiggle and push and try again. Cold is a thief. It steals dexterity first. Behind me, Hank says, "You sure you're okay?" in the same tone as before, soft and open, and I answer on the same track, "I'm fine. Thank you," and try to smile like this is normal. The door finally gives with a cough. I slide the suitcase in and fumble for a tip. He doesn't look at the number, just nods and says, "Get warm." And by the time I look up, he's back in the car, taillights red in the snow. In the hallway, I hold the door with my foot and pull the bag all the way inside. Someone walks by with a trash bag. A woman about my mother's age in a big cardigan, grey hair tucked into a scarf. She glances at my hands, which are shaking, and then at my face, and then away polite private. I nod hello, and she nods back and keeps moving the bag rustling against the stair. The light overhead buzzes like a bug. My unit number is missing half a digit, the metal plate crooked. Inside, the room greets me with a thin kind of yellow and a thick kind of cold. The thermostat screen is dark. I press the button and nothing happens. I press it again and the plastic gives me a hollow click. I move to the kitchen. The fridge hums tiredly and opens on a light and a shelf and not much else. A small, half-used stick of butter looks lonely in a door bin. In the cupboard, I find 2 cups, a chipped plate, an electric kettle with dust on the handle, a pack of instant noodles past date by months. I pick it up and put it back irrationally dizzy at the thought of the taste. Under the sink is a clear plastic water jug, and it is empty. I put it down, and it clacks, and I flinch at my own noise. I walk to the closet and find an old thin blanket and drape it over a chair because I can't think of anything else to do with it. The heater control on the wall has a switch I forgot about. I flip it and hear the faintest rattle in the vents, like an old animal waking then quiet. The water heater is a small box behind a panel. I open it and stare at the diagram and push a reset and light a pilot and tell myself it will sort itself out if I give it a few minutes, and lower my head until my forehead touches the cool paint of the wall. I make a plan like a list my teacher would accept: shower water sleep. I peel off my coat, and each layer makes the room feel colder, which is not how it should go. I close the bathroom door to trap whatever warmth will come and turn the tap to hot and wait. It sneezes and coughs and then runs at a temperature that is not cold, but not the kind of warm that touches bone. My shoulders hunch without my permission. I step in anyway because I need to wash the stale airport air off my skin. The water hits and my eyes sting and my hands go numb, and I tell myself I'll be fast. The mirror fogs a little, the kind of blur that hides no real thing. I reach for the soap and it slips and rolls, and I feel a small laugh somewhere in me, and then it's gone. When I turn off the tap, the room snaps colder. I stand and the floor moves under me, not like an earthquake, more like a boat I didn't know I boarded. I put my hand on the sink to steady myself, and the porcelain feels far away. My ears fill with a soft roaring. My heart shakes the cage. I dry my face and the towel feels too rough. I try to step toward the door and the edge of my vision closes in like someone dimmed a circle. I hear my own voice say I'm fine, as if saying it into the air can make it true. And then my knees fold without any pain, just a decision my body makes. I bump the vanity and slide down, and my cheek finds the tile, and it is so cold it could be ice. The soap bottle knocks over and the cap spins and then stills. A drop of water falls from my hair to the floor and breaks into 3. The ceiling light hums and trembles and stretches away from me like a tunnel. Somewhere on the other side of the door, there's a soft knock, almost polite, like a question looking for a place to land, and a woman's voice says, "Hello, are you okay?" The words are close and far at the same time, like I'm hearing them through a wall of water. I try to answer and make no sound. The knock comes again a little firmer. My phone is in my coat in the other room, a dead thing. I think of Hank's voice and the way he asked and how I spent a whole day saying, "I'm fine," like a password. I think of my mother's, "Why didn't you book ahead neat and clean as a label?" I think of the hotel email and room 814 and the spare key on a hook 1,000 miles away. I think of the cold in this room and the other cold that started long before tonight. The knock fades to a tap and the tap to a hush. The hum gets fat, then thin. The room shrinks to a dot and goes out. And when sound comes back, it's like a radio finding a station, gloves brushing tile, a voice near my ear. Can you hear me? And a cooler voice farther away, calling out numbers I don't understand. I open my eyes to a ceiling that slides past, and a square of night with falling snow and a man with a calm face. Tom on his badge says, "I'm Tom Ruiz, we're going to get you warm." Okay, a soft prong goes under my nose, and the air tastes like nothing, but it feels like something. A cuff squeezes my arm and a small red light pinches my finger. Somewhere behind him, a woman's voice. I think I recognise says I'm the neighbour. I knocked. She didn't answer. She just got in from the airport and the word neighbour turns into a shape. Evelyn, with the grey scarf from the hallway, and I try to say, "Thank you," but my mouth makes air without sound. The gurney locks and lifts and the hallway door yawns open and cold slaps my cheeks. And then we are in the ambulance and the doors close and the world goes red-white siren low and steady, and Tom tucks a foil blanket around me that sounds like candy and feels like heat, and he keeps his voice level as the road bumps under us. Dehydration and cold can sneak up after long flights. "You're doing fine, just breathe for me," and he counts with me until my ribs stop trying to run away. At the ER, the lights are too bright in that hospital way, but the noise is soft, muffled by curtains and carpet, and a nurse with kind eyes and a ponytail. Kendra moves like a person who has done this 1,000 times, but still looks at people like it's the first, and she says, "Hi, I'm Kendra," and slides a warm blanket over the foil one, and sets a paper cup of warm water in my hand, and says the words that land deeper than the oxygen. "Are you okay?" I start to say the thing. I always say the lie that tastes like chalk, "I'm fine," and then my throat closes and water jumps into my eyes. I didn't ask for, and I shake my head and say, "I thought I was. I'm not. I don't have anyone, and my voice does not break. But it is thin," and she nods, like that is a normal answer. Like the truth is allowed in here and says, "You're safe. Breathe. We'll figure tonight first," and she keeps her hand on the rail until my hand stops shaking against the cup. A monitor beeps in a small bored way, and someone draws blood and labels a tube, and wheels squeak, and then a woman in a navy cardigan with a badge that says ANA steps in with a clipboard. And a calm I can stand inside, and she says, "I'm Anna Morales, social work. I'm going to give you choices," and the word choices makes something in my chest unclench by an inch. She asks 3 things in a voice that does not pry. "Do you have a safe place for tonight? Do you have someone to call? What do you have for resources?" I tell her the short version, the flight, the cold, the group chat, that said just Uber, and why didn't you book ahead? The apartment that felt like a refrigerator with walls, the marriage that broke and threw me out. She does not make a face. She nods and writes and says, "Okay, I can place you in a partner hotel for 72 hours, it's warm and close by. We can do a ride voucher there and a small meal card for the first day. I can also connect you to a legal clinic and a divorce support group if you want those. No pressure, your choice. Choices again." I look at the cup in my hand with its little steam and hear Kendra's question echo, and I hear myself say, a clean, small yes. Please, and I do not add sorry or if it's not too much, and something about that feels like stepping onto dry ground. While they work, the ER keeps unfolding in quiet squares. A doctor with gentle hands checks my pupils and says, "Mild dehydration, mild hypothermia, some bruising, will watch you a few hours and send you somewhere warm," and I feel the word warm as if it belongs to my body again. Out beyond the sliding doors, the night has gathered more snow and a news van idles under a streetlight. A reporter is there because a cold snap means broken bones and burst pipes. Not because of me, and I learn his name when Anna steps back in with her phone and says, "A local station is doing a safety piece about the cold. The reporter is here for general coverage. Your neighbour gave them a brief comment outside. Nothing medical. They asked if they can include an anonymous mention to warn people about flying and then coming home to cold apartments. It stays anonymous, no name, no face, no footage from inside, no medical details. Entirely up to you. The idea of my life on a screen makes my stomach tilt, but the idea of someone hearing a warning before they end up on a bathroom floor makes a different kind of sense. No camera, I say. One line. Anonymous. Anna nods like she expected that and steps out. Later, I see a man with a D7 logo on his jacket through the glass. Miles Chen talking to Evelyn on the sidewalk as flakes settle on her scarf, and the EMT from earlier. Tom says something into a mic about cold after travel in a way that teaches without telling anything about me. A producer named Lydia calls Anna to confirm the piece will run at 10. Anna brings me a short consent form with big letters permission to use a redacted screenshot of a text thread, names and photos blurred, that simply shows the words, "Just Uber and you're an adult, handle it," and permission to use a one-sentence statement from me. I sign, slowly hand steady now, and on the line I give the smallest sentence I have. I'm safe and getting help. Thank you. It looks like a child wrote it. And maybe a part of me is... Kendra checks my vitals again and tucks the blanket tighter and sets another cup of warm water in my hands, and the cup becomes a small sun. The beeping becomes background like rain. I can hear my own breathing in a way that is not an emergency. Time passes in warm squares. The doctor clears me for discharge with instructions I can follow. Drink rest, avoid the cold tonight, come back if the room tilts again. Aina returns with a small folder and a gentle map. The Riverview Hotel is expecting you. There is a voucher for the ride there. There is a meal card for 3 meals. At 10 tomorrow, she will call to check in. Here is a number for a group that meets Tuesdays and Thursdays. Here is the name Rachel Kim if I want legal advice without someone buying my silence. Kendra hands me a card with her name and says, "If you feel dizzy again or you're scared, don't hesitate. We're here," and it sounds like she means it, beyond tonight. They give me a tote with a bottle of water, 2 packets of crackers, a thin hospital sweater that smells clean, and I put my own coat over it, and it feels like armour. The ride voucher comes as a code on my phone, and a driver appears as if pressed from paper. The hospital doors whoosh open and the cold hits, but it is not a wall anymore, only air I pass through. The Riverview lobby is warm and smells like lemons and carpet shampoo. The clerk has the kind of voice that turns everything into yes, and slides me a key card and points at the elevator like it's a path and not a test. In the room, the heat whispers from a vent, and the bed looks like a boat on a lake I can float on. I put the tote on the desk and boil water in the little kettle and pour it into a mug and hold it with both hands greedy for heat. Out of habit, I click the TV and the D7 logo is in the corner of the screen. A preview rolls with shots of snow, a map of the city, the hospital sign. A male voice says, "Cold, snap injuries, how to stay safe after long flights." And there is a blur of a woman in a scarf that could be Evelyn, and a quick shot of a text screenshot with black bars where names go. It is strangely comforting to see the story without seeing me. I text Anna got to Riverview. "Thank you," I text Kendra. "Thank you for asking if I was okay." She replies with a small heart and sleep. I drink the hot water and feel it go down like a light. It is the first thing all day that asks nothing of me. I sit on the bed and let my shoulders drop lower than they have in weeks, and say out loud to the empty room I needed help, and the words don't taste like failure. They taste like air. Snow taps the window and the radiator clicks, and the room is warm in a way I can trust. I set an alarm for the morning call, plug in my phone and watch the charging symbol bloom like a promise. The TV murmurs in the background and I let it. It can talk to the room while I sleep. I turn off the lamp and the dark is soft, and for the first time since Sydney, I do not rehearse a fight or a defence before sleep. I just breathe and float, and when morning comes, it arrives as a soft square of light sliding up the hotel wall. Quiet heat moving through the vent like a whisper. My phone glows on the nightstand with a full green battery. A small mercy, and the paper card Anna left sits under it like a promise. I pour hot water from the kettle and wrap both hands around the mug, and without the noise of the night, Kendra's voice returns as if she is in the room. "Are you okay?" Not as a form, but as a doorway. I look at the empty chair by the window and think, how many chairs at the important parts of my life have been empty, and how I learned to pretend that was fine, and the warm cup in my hands becomes a key that turns something old. The door opens on 8 years old, a small me with bangs and scabbed knees, sitting on a plastic ER chair in a town hospital that smelled like lemon, and fear my left arm in a fresh white cast, still damp under the sleeve. The big clock over the nurse's station tossing minutes at me. Mom and Dad kept glancing at the clock, like it was driving the car without them. Brandon's championship game starting at the high school in 20 minutes, and the doctor had said she'd like to monitor for a bit longer, because I fell from the treehouse and hit hard, and sometimes kids get dizzy later, and Mum smiled with the corners only and said, "We can't miss this, sweetheart. You'll be fine." And then to the neighbour who had come to sit with me. "She's strong, she can handle herself," and the neighbour squeezed my unbroken hand and said, "Of course," and my parents left Dad's keys clinking like medals. When they pushed through the door, I saw the literal medal they hung on the rearview mirror from last season, catching sun like it had a job, and I stared at the chair next to me until it became just a chair, not a place someone should be. I told myself being brave meant not needing a hand on my shoulder, and in the bright present I hear my own voice, older, translating that mistake. I thought being strong meant needing no one. The scene slides and I'm 18 in our living room with a thin paper envelope that has my name printed right, the kind of envelope you dream about. I peel it open and read it twice and say it out loud because I want the sound to make it more real. Full scholarship all 4 years room, and bored, and Mum smiles and Dad nods, and the first thing out of his mouth is, "Does it cost the family anything?" And Mum adds, "This summer, Brandon's sports camp is 3 weeks and we've already paid the deposit, so make sure you line up work study and whatever else you need." And Brandon waves a glossy camp brochure in the air like a flag. I nod because nodding is a language I speak better than any other. Later in June, at the awards night, the gym smells like floor wax and popcorn, and the bleachers creak under parents and girls in dresses, and when they call my name, 2 folding chairs with white paper labels that say, "Parents sit empty in the second row," because there was traffic or a schedule or a something, and the certificate is heavy in my hands the whole time. And a teacher I like tells me he's proud, and then he looks at the chairs and pats my arm, and I tell him, "I'm fine," and he believes me. Mum gives me an envelope after, with thin cash and the words "use wisely" written on the outside, in her careful hand, practical and neat. And I spend the summer running between 2 jobs and a library without air conditioning, and I learn again that proud and present are not the same word. The room in the hotel smells like clean soap, and the chair by my bed is still empty. And it does not hurt like it used to because I am naming it. The light moves and it's 25. And I'm standing in a too bright dressing room with a dress I could afford and love anyway. And Mum is pinching the fabric near the hem and saying, "This material wrinkles easily, that will show in photos." And Dad is outside on a call that is supposed to take 5 minutes and takes 27. And Brandon texts he's running late, but it's fine. They can hold things a little. And the photographer, paid by the hour, stands with his camera at his chest and waits, while Mom rearranges my veil and says, "You're strong. You can handle yourself." Like strength is a compliment and a pass to stay busy elsewhere. We take the family picture without Brandon, and then with him when he arrives, flushed and loud, and the given cash envelope reads, "Use wisely too." And at the ceremony, the bride's side looks thinner than the groom's. And I tell myself it only looks that way because of the angle. But the photo that ends up on our wall later hangs a little crooked, and I never can get it perfectly straight. In the present, I reach for my mug again and sip and feel heat going down like an answer. The past releases me, and I'm back with morning on the carpet and the radiator clicking a steady time, and the TV I left on low at some point is purring through a commercial before the local news. I pick up my phone and open the family chat, and last night's landed still sits there with 2 small grey words under it, seen, and no other words above it. I scroll up to the part where I asked for a ride, and the answers that look like instructions and not care, and I let myself feel the small grief of the empty chairs without pushing it away. Then I open Anna's message from very late, checking on you in the morning. We can set group times and legal consult if you want, ride vouchers, extendable food card reload available. I type back before I can talk myself out of it. Yes to group. 2, yes to legal clinic. Thank you. No changes to family contact for now. My thumb hovers and then I add one more sentence that is new for me. Please set me up with whatever makes the next 72 hours easier, and I hit send without apologising for asking. Anna replies with a simple heart and 10 a.m. call confirmed, and then a second message with 2 times the group meets this week, and a name Rachel Kim for legal advice. I save both and put the phone face down and stare at the empty chair and consider that sometimes leaving a chair empty on purpose is cleaner than leaving it empty by accident. I get up and pull the chair closer to the bed and set my warm mug on it like a marker, as if I am reserving space for the version of me that asks for help without shame. The sun climbs another inch and throws a bright line across the carpet, and I think about the ER chair where small me sat, while the team won a trophy I can barely remember, and I think about folding chairs at awards that stayed names only, and I think about the photo line missing a body and how the dress wrinkled anyway, and how the picture still shows us smiling, because that is how pictures work. I breathe and let the pieces line up, not to hurt me, but to make a map that explains how I got here, why I trained myself to carry everything alone and call it strength. I say out loud, I don't want to do it that way anymore, and the room does not change colour, but something inside me does, like a door unlatching. The kettle clicks as it cools. The vent hums, the anchor of the bed pulls at me. But I stay sitting a little while and look at the card with Kendra's name and think of her asking, "Are you okay?" and me answering with the truth. I turn the TV sound up just enough to catch the weather, and the voice mentions the cold snap and a safety segment on staying warm after long flights, and I don't flinch because the story can be useful without being mine to hold in public. I check my phone one more time, and there is still nothing from my mother, nothing from my brother, a blank above their scene as neat as a label, and I do not read it as a verdict, only as information. 10 o'clock gets closer, and I make a list in notes that is not about defending myself, but about steps. Drink water, eat something easy. Answer, Anna text, Rachel. Try the group. Take a short walk if sidewalks are clear. Buy groceries later with the card. I look at the empty chair and think it's okay if it stays empty, as long as the bed is warm and the next steps are mine. When the phone buzzes with Anna's call, I pick up on the first ring and say hello without clearing my throat. And when she asks how I am, I answer the best I can. I'm better. I'm getting help. And in the quiet, after I believe myself, the phone buzzed at 10, and Aina was on the line steady as ever, and she said she could connect me to a local attorney who handled messy endings without making them messier. 20 minutes later, I was on a video call with Rachel Kim, hair in a neat bun, eyes that said she had seen every version of this and still cared. She asked 5 simple things in a voice that didn't rush me. How long we were married, where we lived, what assets mattered, the Sydney condo, whether we had joint accounts, and whether I had any proof of the affair. And when I told her about the hotel invoice and the text to room 814, she nodded once and said, "We'll flip the script with process, not drama." And the words landed like a plank I could stand on. She laid out a checklist in short lines. I could follow ID and marriage certificate, last year's tax return, 12 to 24 months of bank and card statements, Any emails or screenshots, the Harbourview booking, the misfired text, and any large purchases or transfers that did not match normal life. She wanted everything labelled and dated clean enough that a stranger could read it and understand the shape of what happened without me having to perform. After the call, I opened my laptop on the hotel desk and made a new subfolder inside the one I called Receipts, and then I logged into our joint bank and credit cards and started exporting statements. PDF after PDF, a CSV here and there that I pulled into a simple sheet so my brain could see a column of dates, a column of vendors, a column of amounts. I printed nothing because the room had no printer, but I marked digital pages with a bright yellow highlighter tool. And when that felt like not enough, I made a second pass and typed notes beside each line. Harbourview, 2 nights shows up every other month. Jewellery store I didn't know. Airline charge with 2 seats when he told me he flew alone. Digital wallet transfers at odd hours. I took screenshots, renamed files so they made sense. 2024-02 Harbourview.pdf and dropped them into a secure portal. Rachel's paralegal Jade Nguyen sent me with a polite note that said, "I've got you. Send in batches, no need to be perfect." Every time I drew the yellow over a charge, my hand shook less. Every line I annotated took a little fog out of my head. When the yellow was a small river across the screen, I felt like I could breathe deeper. Rachel called back at noon and said she was filing for temporary orders to preserve assets, no selling or transferring anything big, no draining accounts, and a formal note on the condo title in Sydney that would flag any attempt to move it. She had a partner in Sydney who could lodge a caveat and send notice to the registry, and she would also send letters to Harbourview and the card companies to preserve and produce records. We preserve first argue, later she said, and I said, I can live with that. That afternoon, Anna booked me a desk at a co-working space 2 blocks from the hotel so I could scan a few paper items with a real machine, and I walked over with a tote that felt embarrassingly light for the weight of my life. The room hummed with other people's projects and printers, and I used the flatbed to scan our marriage certificate and the last 2 years of tax returns. Then I sat with earbuds in and built a clean 1-page summary at Jade's request date vendor amount note. When I sent it, she responded in 10 minutes with 2 questions and a perfect keep going. I did, until my eyes hurt pleasantly the way they do when you've stacked wood in a neat pile. Toward evening, an email from a law firm I didn't recognise landed formal and tidy on behalf of our client, Caleb Archer. We propose a lump sum payment contingent on a standard non-disclosure agreement. Language about preserving reputations and avoiding public spectacle filled the page. My heart punched once because money solves practical problems and my head is not a fool. And then a second email slid in from Sloane's personal account, not through counsel, a smooth paragraph about being civil and not dragging things out. I sat very still and looked at the 2 windows side by side, the offer to buy my silence and the side note from the person who had helped make my life small. And I felt the memory of the cold bathroom tile on my cheek, the empty chairs at the times when I needed faces, the way my brother typed "just Uber" like it was kindness. I forwarded both emails to Rachel without comment, and she wrote back in under 5 minutes, "Do not respond to Sloane. We'll reply to counsel. We'll declining NDA, proceeding for equitable division." She drafted a clean, simple response for me to approve all future communication to counsel. "We will not agree to an NDA. Here are the categories of assets and the timeline." She also attached a short line for me to send myself if I wanted the catharsis, and I did. I don't take hush money. Please direct all future contact to counsel. My finger hovered only a second before I hit send. Nothing exploded. The room didn't shift, the bed didn't shake, but inside my chest something braced itself and stood up straighter. The next morning, Rachel asked if I could meet her briefly at the courthouse clerk's office to file what needed filing. Anna texted a ride voucher and a reminder to eat breakfast first. At the clerk's desk, a woman in a blue cardigan stamped "Received" in red on the top page of our motion, and the sound was so firm it felt like a door closing on a room I shouldn't go back into. Rachel showed me a copy of the notice sent to the Sydney Registry and to Caleb's council, and I signed where stickers told me to sign, and for a second, I felt like someone more competent had borrowed my hand and used it well. Back at the hotel, an email from the court dropped into my inbox with a hearing date for temporary orders 3 weeks out on a Friday morning, and Rachel called to talk me through how to answer if the judge asked me questions. She had me practice 3 short lanes, the length of the marriage and my contributions, including the invisible ones, 2 or 3 examples of abnormal spending with dates and vendors, not adjectives, and the immediate needs to stabilise my life like secure housing and the tools I use to work. She said, "Answer, then stop. Let the record work," and we practiced until I could keep my voice under my breath and my sentences short. That night, when the day had emptied and the TV's noise was all weather and commercials, a knock sounded on my door, and Evelyn stood there with a lidded container that smelled like soup and a look that asked nothing. "You're not alone," she said, and she didn't try to come in, just pressed the container into my hands and left, and I ate on the bed with a plastic spoon and felt heat travel all the way to my fingers. After I cleaned up, I sat at the desk and looked at the hotel keycard by my laptop and thought about the spare key that used to hang in Sydney with both our names on a small metal tag. How a key doesn't help if the person who controls the door won't turn the lock. I turned the keycard in my fingers and said out loud, "I need a second key," and I did not mean a duplicate for a door. I meant a backup for life, a plan, a cushion, a way out. In my head, I saw a list for later, an emergency fund, a spare phone charger always packed an account in my name, only people I could call who answered yes. The idea sat there like a small seed in my palm. Near midnight, Rachel's email pinged again. The temporary preservation order had been signed by a judge. The request had gone out to the hotel and the banks. The clerk's calendar was firm for our hearing. She had already sent a short refusal of the NDA and restated our ask for a fair split based on the money trail. I exhaled and noticed my shoulders drop, and my jaw let go. I opened my spreadsheet and clicked 3 more boxes statements, gathered motion-filed hearing date set, and a neat check mark filled each square. The yellow lines on the PDFs looked like roads on a map, now routes leading out of a bad town. I powered down the laptop and put the key card on top of it, like a paperweight, and for the first time in days didn't rehearse a scene or a speech before closing my eyes. I had work to do and a date on paper and people on my side, and that was enough for a night. By the time the next evening rolls around, I'm washed, fed, and in clean clothes sitting cross-legged on the hotel bed, with the TV remote in my hand, like it's a small lever that could move the day. At 10 sharp, the D7 logo spins. The Chiron reads, "Cold snap injuries, long flights and cold homes," and the screen fills with snow, the hospital sign, and a slow pan of the ER entrance. I hold my breath without meaning to. Evelyn appears in her grey scarf face, kind and steady. I knocked, called 911. "She'd just flown back alone," she says. Then Tom the EMT explains, in general, how cold and dehydration can hit people after long flights, how to check on neighbours, how to warm up safely. There is no name, no face, no room number. A screenshot of a text thread flashes up for 2 beats. Names and photos blurred, just 2 lines, just Uber. And, "You're an adult, handle it." Under it the caption says, "The image is used with permission to warn the public." My one sentence follows in a plain white box, "I'm safe and getting help. Thank you." It is strange and also right to see the story told like that, not a spectacle, more like a weather report you listen to, so you don't slip on your own steps. When the segment ends, I realise I've been gripping the mug on the nightstand. I put it down and let my hands go soft. The clip hits the station's site and socials within minutes. My phone lights like a small city. I don't open the comments. I don't need to. Anna texts links posted, and then a second text that a few offers are coming in through her office. Within the hour, we have a short list. The hotel chain offers to extend my stay from 72 hours to 2 full weeks at no cost. A co-working space near the river Emails a 1-month pass. A legal clinic reaches out to backstop Rachel's work if we need filings fast. A meal delivery service donates 2 weeks of simple dinners. The transit authority adds ride vouchers for errands and appointments. The divorce support group adds me to Tuesday the Thursday with a spot held. I ask the only question I have learned to ask now. Any strings Anna replies, no, pure support. I sit with that for a second and then I type the words I didn't used to say, thank you, not no worries, not I'll handle it, just thank you. 10 minutes later, Anna is knocking softly on my door with her iPad and a paper folder. She sits at the small desk and opens a checklist that makes the chaos into boxes. Housing extended 2 weeks, confirmed, she asks. Confirmed, I say. Food, 2 weeks starts tonight, she continues. Yes. Transport ride vouchers loaded to your phone. Got them. Work, co-working, pass email saved. I'll go tomorrow, I say. Emotional support group meets Tuesday and Thursday. Want me to put your name on both? Yes, please. Legal, stay with Rachel Clinic as backup. No media interviews without going through me, same rules as before. Yes, I say, and there is no apology in my voice. She looks up and smiles. No pressure. We accept what helps. Decline what doesn't. She leaves me with the folder, a few printouts, and a delivery ETA for dinner. I pour hot water into the mug and feel the heat climb back into my fingers. The phone starts to shiver again. This time, it's family. Brandon first take down that chat image. Clients are asking questions. Then, my mother. This is a misrepresentation. TV always twists things. Don't make this bigger. A minute after that, my dad, short and plain. Are you safe? Need anything I read each one twice. I keep my reply short, and even the way Rachel suggested I'm safe and supported. Let's meet tomorrow at the diner by the hospital 3 p.m. Brandon writes back immediately. We should come up now. Where are you staying? My mother. Yes, we're coming tonight. I answer, both with the same line. Tomorrow. Public place. The dots appear and vanish and then stop. I set the phone face down and breathe. The knock at the door is room service with a tray chicken soup bread, a small salad I didn't order, but that someone added. I eat slowly and feel my body say, thank you all the way to my feet. The TV plays the segment again on the late broadcast. I mute it and let the pictures roll. A call comes in from a number I don't know. Anna texts at the same time D7 follow-up request. Your call. I pick up. It's Miles. His voice is gentle edges rounded from repeating the same assurances all day. We can keep you anonymous just like before, he says. If you want to say anything about the value of community support, we'd include a single-line statement. No more than that. I say what I'm learning to say. No on camera. One sentence in writing is, fine. He thanks me. 10 minutes later, an email comes through with a blank for my words. I type, strangers showed up when I needed help. Please check on the people around you. Miles replies with thanks and a link to the original clip. I don't share it. I save it in a folder called Press and close the tab. The social feed I can see from my lock screen has people arguing about who owes what to whom, which feels like weather I cannot change. I put the phone across the room and write my own weather a short list on hotel stationery. Sleep enough, eat enough, go to group meet. Family with boundaries, keep working the case. Anna's checklist sits beside it like a map. The room is warm and still. The cup on the desk steams like a small beacon. Another set of messages lands later. Brandon again. We need to control the narrative. You don't understand how this looks. Donna. This could hurt your brother's career and your father's social circle. Please be sensible. I answer once to both tomorrow at 3. Diner by the hospital. My dad sends a last line, I'll be there. I let the phone rest. A message from Evelyn pops up, proud of you. 2 words, nothing else, and they lift the air like opening a window. I text back a little heart and thank you for knocking yesterday. She writes anytime. The co-working pass arrives in my email with a barcode and a note from the manager. Glad you're here. I put the pass, the meal card, and the ride voucher side by side on the desk and line up their edges. They look like tools, not favours. The TV hums, but I keep it on mute. I think about how many times I type no worries to smooth other people's days, and how small it made mine, and I try a new sentence out loud to the empty room. I'll choose kindness over optics. It sounds like something a future version of me might say without shaking. I set an alarm for the diner meeting enough time to eat lunch first and walk there without rushing. I set a second alarm for the support group tomorrow night. I open my calendar and put in the court date again because I like seeing it there. I take a long drink of hot water and turn off the TV. The room goes quiet in a good way. I put the hotel key on top of my phone and slide both under the corner of the notepad, small things in order. Outside, the snow has slowed to a light sift. Somewhere in the city, people are watching the same clip and checking on their neighbours. In here, I am practicing a new kind of sentence. Thank you, yes please tomorrow at 3 Public Place. I turn off the lamp and lie back and let the quiet do its work, and by 3 the next afternoon, I'm walking into a diner near the hospital, neon red and white in the window, the bell over the door giving a tired ring. I'm 10 minutes early on purpose. I pick the booth against the wall so I can see the entrance, and I put my phone on silent and slide it face down. The server pours coffee without asking, and I ask for a cup of hot water too, and the steam curls up between my hands like a small shield. On my napkin, I write 3 lines from Rachel's coaching. 1. I'm safe and supported. 2. I won't take anything down and I won't sign anything to make this look nicer. 3. Boundaries for contact and no surprise visits, and I fold the napkin and tuck it under the salt shaker so I don't keep staring at it. The doorbell rings again, right at 3, and Donna and Brandon come in fast, perfume before them. Winter air behind. Donna air kisses the side of my head without touching skin and slides into the booth across from me. Brandon drops down beside her big phone already in his hand. Ken comes in last, quieter, hat in hand, and sits at the end like he doesn't want to crowd anyone. Donna starts before the menus land. TV twisted it, she says crisp. You need to put out something to correct the record. Brandon leans forward. Clients asked me about that screenshot. You need to get that taken down. Ken looks at me and not at the table. Are you safe? Do you need anything? He asks, words small and plain. I nod to the server for a minute to order later and say, let's keep voices low, no pictures, no touching my phone, and we stick to facts. Donna rolls her eyes at facts like the word is dramatic. I keep my tone even. Here's the timeline, I say. I asked for a ride from the airport after a 24-hour trip. Landing 6 p.m, can someone pick me up? The replies were, just Uber, and you're an adult, handle it. I got home to a cold place. I passed out a neighbour called 911. I went to the ER. The TV piece was anonymous and meant to warn people about the cold. I agreed to 1 sentence and a redacted image. That's it, Brandon shakes his head. Families don't air laundry, he says. You made us look heartless. Donna pats his arm and turns to me. We can't drop everything for every little crisis, Nora. People have schedules. You should have planned better. I sip the hot water and let it steady me. I needed help, I say. I asked. You said no. Then I stopped the way Rachel taught me. The server slides in to ask about food, and the pause makes real space. We order simply because it's easier than saying, no soup for me, coffee refills for everyone else. And when she leaves, Brandon tries again. Okay, here's what we do. He says like he's at work, we post a statement, family supports you, miscommunication, move on. Also, call the station and tell them to take down that chat image. I won't be doing any of that, I say. I didn't post the image. The station used a redacted screenshot with my permission for public safety. It stays. No joint statements, no spin. I'm not in a PR plan. Donna's mouth tightens. We're your family, she says. We decide these things together. We don't, I say, and keep my voice soft. Not about my life. Not anymore. She tries a different door. We should come to your hotel tonight. Talk in private. No, I say. No hotel, only public places. Tomorrow or later in daylight scheduled. Brandon huffs. You're making this bigger. I'm making it clear, I say. From now on, if you want to contact me, send a text during the day. No late night calls, no surprise visits. If it's about legal or money, go through my lawyer. If you want to help in a way that is actually helpful, you can send a grocery card. Or you can do nothing. Both are acceptable. No conditions. Donna leans back like I've pushed her. Ungrateful, she says. We raised you. This is how you repay us. I keep my hands around the cup so I don't fidget. Being strong doesn't mean needing no one, I say. I needed you. I said so. You were busy. That's the truth. I'm not going to draw water from an empty well anymore. Brandon points at my phone. You're hurting my career, he says. People talk. I look at Ken because his face is the only one not playing to an audience. What do you need? He asks again, more careful. The question lands different from the others because it isn't a defense. I answer him and them at the same time. Respect the boundaries, I say. Don't interfere with my legal case or the press. If you want to be part of my life, show up without making it about how it looks. Otherwise, give me space. The soup comes, and the smell of chicken and pepper reminds me that this is a place where people eat, not a courtroom. Donna pushes her spoon around and says, when you calm down, call me in the tone that says, I'm not calm, because I disagree. Brandon mutters about calling PR and slides out of the booth. First urgency all over him. He doesn't say goodbye. Donna stands, collects her bag and gives me a look that's half wounded, half warning. Be sensible, she says and follows him. The bell rings. The booth feels bigger. Ken stays seated and looks at the window for a breath, then at me. Lunch next Thursday, he asks. No TV talk. Just lunch. It's the first offer all day that sounds like a real offer. Noon, I say, just the two of us. He nods. Okay, he says and puts a 20 under his cup even though we haven't gotten the check yet. He puts on his hat and squeezes my shoulder. Once light and leaves without a speech. I finish my soupad tip and stand up slow. The air outside is bright and cold. Snowmelt runs in a thin ribbon along the curb. I text Anna Dunn, boundaries set. She sends a thumbs up and group tomorrow night. I type, yes. As I walk back toward the hotel, I pass a planter full of frozen dirt and old stems, and I think about the idea that has been sitting in my pocket since Rachel's email last night, a second key for life backup plans, soft landings, a small fund that opens doors when the main one jams, and the phrase second key clicks in my head like a name. I hold the hotel keycard inside my glove, warm against my palm, and feel a small heat in my chest that isn't from coffee or soup. It feels like room in a house I haven't built yet. First time living alone, I tell myself in the morning, and I mean it like a plan, not a threat. I open the curtains to a narrow band of winter sun and start a small routine kettle on cup in my hands, one slow drink of warm water before anything else. I set my phone to Do Not Disturb from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m., add white noise to my bedtime shortcuts, and scribble a light to-do on hotel stationery breakfast, co-working grocery support group at 7, no screens after 9. The room is quiet, in a good way. Not the cold silence of that apartment, more like a library where the air understands you. Anna texts to check vouchers and ask if I want the same dinner service as last night, and I type, yes, please, thank you, and don't chase it with an apology. I ride a voucher downtown to the co-working space, and a guy in a denim shirt. Sam on his lanyard scans my pass with a smile that feels like permission, then gives me a fast tour. Open desks, phone booths, a kitchen with tea, a printer that looks like it can lift a car. I choose a table by the window and open my laptop and clear the low tasks, first 2 emails, to steady clients saying I'm available in limited blocks. A short auto-reply that sets expectations without telling my life story. Then, I build a simple budget in a fresh spreadsheet, housing food, transit, legal savings. I make a new line called Second Key and tag it with a small star. Rachel's email arrives like a firm step on a stair filings, received hearing date unchanged, preservation orders in place. She reminds me that all contact from Caleb's side should go through her. As if on cue, a revised NDA arrives from his lawyer with kinder words and the same shape underneath. I forward it to Rachel with no comment, then reply to the sender with a single line. We agreed on, please direct all communication to counsel, and I feel the invisible fence hold. I pull bank PDFs into a folder and use the digital highlighter again, the same yellow as yesterday, and each streak across a line item feels like drawing a road out of a maze. Around noon, I walk to the kitchen for tea, and Sam asks, settling in? Okay, and I say, I am, and it's the truth. After lunch, I ride to the grocery store on another voucher and buy small useful things that feel like care: oats, eggs, spinach, ginger, broth, tea, fruit. A tiny bottle of dish soap. Back in the room, I stir a quick ginger egg soup in the microwave bowl. Crack pepper on top, set a paper towel like a placemat, and put on low music from a playlist that is all piano and no stories. The first spoonful is simple and hot, and I can feel it go to work. Evelyn texts pharmacy run need anything, and old me starts typing no worries and new me backspaces and writes a small multivitamin if it's easy. Thank you. And a half hour later, there's a knock and a paper bag at my door and a note with a smiley face. I send her a heart and go back to my list. At 6, I put on boots and walk to the community centre for the support group, a building that smells like floor cleaner and coffee chairs set in a circle under warm lights. The facilitator, Maya, opens with 3 simple prompts. Name, state one thing you need, and we go around like passing a candle. When it's my turn, I say, I'm Nora. I left. I'm safe. I need steadiness, and I stop there because stopping is the skill. People nod because it's enough. A woman with paint on her sleeve suggests a bedtime routine that starts before you're exhausted. A man with a gentle voice talks about an emergency folder with copies of documents and a small cash stash. Maya hands out a 1-page sheet called Safety and Stability, with boxes you can check and blank lines you can fill. I mark 3 items, make a call list of 3 people for late nights, pack a go pouch with basic set automatic transfers, even if the number is tiny. On my call list, I write Anna, then Evelyn, then Sam front desk at co-working, because the space is open late and a live voice is sometimes all you need. I walk back in the thin cold with the paper folded in my coat and my phone on D&D and the sky a grey lid. At 10:42, my screen lights with a long paragraph from Donna, we need to talk now, and at 10:45 a link from Brandon about privacy and family. But the phone doesn't buzz because the settings hold, and I let both messages sit in the dark square of the night. I draft a morning auto reply that reads, I'm safe and supported. Please. Text during the day and save it. Miles emails to ask for a small written note about the group no camera, and I send 1 line. Community is how the ground stops moving, and he thanks me and says, no, follow-ups. I wash the soup bowl, set my shoes by the door like a person who expects to go somewhere tomorrow, and sketch the second key plan on a fresh page, 1 emergency kit ID scanned to the cloud, a printed set in a zip bag, a charger always in my tote. 2 emergency fund, set up a new savings account and schedule a small automatic transfer every Friday, even if it's $5. 3 community map. 5 contacts who answer not just family titles. Anna, Evelyn, co-working front desk, Maya's group, hotline hotel desk. 4 micro grants idea. Someday, small $100, $300 boosts for people shoved out of homes, with nothing but a bag, no forms that break you, just a quick yes. I don't know how to fund it yet, but writing it down makes it real. I place the hotel key on top of the notepad like a paperweight as if the key knows its new job, not just to open a door, but to hold plans in place. I power down my laptop turn on white noise, brush my teeth like a normal person on a normal Thursday, and dim the lamp. The room settles around me like a held breath let out. I think of the phrase I said at the diner, kindness over optics, and repeat it once like a bedtime prayer. The heater hums, the water in the pipes ticks, the city moves outside my window without needing me to fix it, and I slide into sleep that doesn't test me, a long, even stretch that holds from one end of the night to the other. When morning finds me, it doesn't have to drag me to the surface, I'm already there. I dress, simple drink, 1 cup of hot water, slide a thick clip folder into my tote, and ride to the courthouse with Rachel, who says one last time, answer, then stop, and we step into a hallway that smells like old paper and winter. Caleb stands with his lawyer by the window, Stone still Sloane a step behind in a perfect coat, and I look past them to the door marked Family Court. Inside, the room is small, the seal on the wall. Large, the clock louder than it should be, and when the clerk calls our case, Rachel lays the story down like a clean line years of marriage my work, and moves the travel for his contracts, the sudden pattern of hotel bills and 2-seat flights, and what I need to keep my life working while the rest is sorted. I give my part in 3 short pieces, what I contributed, where the money trail bends, and what stability costs right now, and I stop. Caleb's lawyer talks about misunderstandings and reputations, and suggests a standard NDA to keep things quiet, and the judge lifts one hand and says, "Counsel, this court is not in the business of polishing reputations," then looks at me and adds, "The court recognises the wife's non-financial contributions, and for a second, I feel seen in a way that does not need a camera." Rachel slides exhibits across statements, with yellow lines, the Harbourview invoice, with anniversary amenity, the misfired text to room 8414, and the judge reads like she is building a map. When she speaks again, it is in decisions you can hold. The Sydney condo will be sold or bought out within a set window, with a neutral broker with proceeds divided equitably. All joint accounts and digital wallets are to be disclosed and reconciled. A fair split of liquid funds will be released now to cover my housing, and a modest career reboot budget equipment. A small office pass, basic fees, so I can work while we finish. Legal fees are to be shared in part, and mediation is on the calendar. The NDA request is denied. Transparency, not silence, she says and signs twice the pen, scratching like a match. The gavel is a soft tap, but it lands like a door finally opening. We leave the room, and the hallway air tastes newer. Caleb stops a few feet from me, jaw tight, and says, "We loved each other once, and I hear the old life try to rise, but I keep my voice low and steady. And I trusted you once." And then I turn to Rachel, because the future speaks through process now. The clerk's office prints orders and a release notice, and Rachel's paralegal emails the neutral broker. By noon, a property manager in Sydney is on a video call counting next steps, and by 2, the bank has wired my court-ordered share into a new account with just my name. I walk 3 blocks with Rachel to a small building that has a sunlit studio I toured last week as a maybe, and the landlord, who already saw the court letter, places a set of keys in my hand, like he is handing over a quiet instrument. The keys are cold and real. I sign once, transfer first and last month, and stand in a bare room with good light and a view of a tree that will be green in a few months, and I whisper thank you into an empty space that answers with warm silence. On the way out, I text Evelyn a picture of the keys, and she replies, "Proud of you," and I text Annalise signed, and she sends a line of confetti. In the co-working space, I open my laptop and set 3 budget lines, live rent work gear, and second key seed. I build a 1-page site with 5 words at the top. A room, a ride, a call, and a clear box that says exactly what 72 hours covers and what it costs with a promise to post receipts. I email Rachel the text for a quick legal read, and she replies, "Clean," and I press publish. I send the link to Anna with 1 sentence, "Activate intake when you're ready," and she writes back, ready now, and flips a simple form to live. A local hotel that already knows us sends a short note offering starter nights at a fixed rate, and the rideshare partner we used last week matches vouchers for a month. I post nothing to socials. I text no blasts. I just send the link to the people who asked how to help and leave it at that. My phone buzzes twice with bank alerts and once with a calendar hold from the neutral broker, and I breathe in a way that feels new. Outside the window, the river looks like metal, and in the glass I can see myself holding a plain cup of hot water and not shaking. I didn't beat him. I beat the fear. At sunset, I walk to the studio with a bag that holds a kettle, a mug, new sheets, and the cactus I bought on sale. I sit on the floor next to the outlet plug in the kettle and pick up the keys again because I like the weight. The court gave me a runway, my work gave me a spine, and strangers gave me a door to hold open for the next person. I tape a small paper by the entry that says, "Second key home," and lock up for the night, because for the first time, the lock is mine. For the first time, the lock is mine, and a year turns like a page. At sunrise, I roll my small suitcase across the Denver airport curb. I once shivered on, and it feels different now. No rush, no panic, just a line of orange at the horizon and a clean list in my head. Check-in is smooth. The bag light on my arm, my wallet clipped to a keychain stamped second. Key. At security, I drop a laminated boarding pass into the tray, with my laptop the one I saved from the night I came home to. Just Uber, and it doesn't sting anymore. It's a marker, not a wound. I clear the lane, buy a coffee and a hot water, and sit near a window where the runways look like long, clean lines. My phone lights with steady kindness. Proud of you, E. From Evelyn. Text when you land. Zoom at 3 for debrief from Anna. 3 hearts from the support group chat, and a "you've got this" from Maya. Then a late bubble from my mother. Mind the optics, and I tap a single heart back and let it go where it goes. I am flying to Portland to open a small workshop for Second Key, 2 hours in a community room borrowed from a library slides that say a room, a ride, a person to call a Q&A with a shelter lead and an EMT, and the idea that I am not begging for help but building a map sits light in my chest. I watch people meet at the curb and lift bags into trunks, and it brushes the old memory but doesn't pull me under. I sip the coffee and think, I don't beg water from dry wells. I dig my own, and also I share. The gate agent scans my phone and smiles. I wheel my bag down the hall with the long windows, and when I reach the jetway, I pause, touch the small metal key on my ring, and step through because doors are for going forward. The plane is calm, morning soft. A baby murmurs 3 rows back, and I slide my bag overhead, sit by the aisle and set my laptop on the tray. The new boarding pass sits above the old laminated one like a before and after I can hold. I open a fresh doc and type the first lines. I'll say later. Last year, I needed a second key. Today, I carry extra keys so I can hand them to the next person. I add 3 bullets. First, 24 hours safety. First, 72 stability. First, 2 weeks small steps. And under that, I write the sentence that became a spine for me. Kindness over optics. The plane backs away from the gate, and I feel the quiet push of the taxi, not a jolt, a steady roll. Out the window, the jetways look like open arms, and I remember the woman we placed last month one night turned to 3, then a week, then she texted a photo of a new mailbox with her name on it. The captain says we'll be on time, and the flight map draws a simple line northwest. My phone buzzes one more time before airplane mode. Rachel, have a good talk. Proud of how clean you kept the work, and I send a quick thank you because praise can be blunt and still be true. The wheels lift and the city shrinks to neat squares, and I don't feel like I'm leaving anything important behind. My people are not a place I can lose at baggage claim. Clouds close under us and the light evens out. I keep drafting a slide about receipts, a slide about ride vouchers, a slide with 3 short stories. No names, just paths, so people in the room can see how simple a save can be. I add a note to thank the co-working space that donated tables, the hotel that holds 10 rooms each month, the clinic that answers at odd hours. I stop and look around the cabin and feel the soft hum sit in my bones. I remember the first time I walked this airport with my life broken and how I waited for a hand that didn't come. And I think about the hands that did, Evelyn's knock, Kendra's warm cup, Anna's, we can fix tonight, Rachel's, answer, then stop. Tom's steady voice and the space between then and now doesn't feel like a cliff. It feels like a bridge. I helped build one plank at a time. The seatbelt sign dings off and I close my eyes for a minute, not to run from anything, but to hold the quiet. When I open them, we're already lining up new slides. How to start in your city, what to put in a 72-hour kit, who to call first, and I add one last line at the end. If you can't be the whole ladder, be the first rung, because that is all we promise and it is enough. The plane tilts, levels pushes forward. I fold the laminated pass and slip it back into my wallet beside the new one, and it sits there like a story with a spine. The cabin lights warm a shade as we climb, and the sky goes bright white out the window. I think of the curb in Denver and the gate up ahead in Portland, and how both are just points on a path. I put the laptop to sleep, rest my palms on the small keychain, and feel the light weight of 2 keys, the one to my door and the one to the door I hold open for others. The engines rise, and for once, everything inside me rises with them. I roll the words I'll use later once more in my head, and let the rest go. I pick myself up.